So guys, decided, for whatever reason, I don't know, from putting that motor on and this one smoking, I was going to tear this 14 horse apart. So I took the rod out, the rod cap off, I popped the piston out, and when I cleaned it up and looked at it, check that out. It's got a crack there, and then right there it's got the same crack in it. That would be enough to make it smoke. Let me go over here in the white light, see if I see anything there. The thing, it's cracked the whole way through. I think you guys can see it's cracked into that rib here. The other thing I noticed about this motor was it has the stud for the balance gear in it. Hold on a second, I'm going to sit this down someplace where it doesn't get dirty. On the bench. Not a bad place. Clean the bench, by the way. Let's see if I can't flip the motor up so you guys can see here. Well, maybe you guys can see there. But, let's see. If you guys can see, right, there's my hand. I don't think you guys can see it. One second. You guys should be able to see it now, but see it has the balance gear stud in it. So this motor I know has been apart, and I can only assume that the balance gears failed before and it came apart. The crank feels nice and smooth, and I know this thing sounded like it had a rod knock to it, but I wonder if it was ignition knock. Because the weird thing to me is it didn't knock in the shop, but when I took it outside it did. Everything else in here though, I can't spin it because it's sitting on the crank, but everything looks kosher, near as I can tell. And you can see the obvious grind marks on the weight from hitting somewhere. The only other thing I'll do is I'll check the bore out, but otherwise, I think I'm going to try buying a new piston and a set of rings for this and slap it back together and just see what the hell happens. Honestly, what would you guys do if it was yours? I'd try it, because I can get a Sten's rod and Sten's rings pretty cheap, I think. Maybe I'll check about on eBay tonight for some more deals, but that's wild, guys. I'm going to take some pictures and check the bore out, and I'll let you guys know what I find out or what I do here, but because basically, the motor I got on there does the almost exact same thing. The only thing, this one does not knock. That is the only difference. So, and it's leaking oil too, which, you know, for a motor that is set dry for who knows how many years, and just put it back on a tractor and hope it'll work fine. You know, very possible. Carb leaks through and stuff, but it don't smoke as bad as that one did. Still smokes though. So, well, okay, that's it for today. Later, guys. Alright, guys, so I was sitting here staring at this, and then I looked down and I happened to see that. Let me see if I can hold the camera steady. So, this thing has definitely broke a connecting rod at some point in its life. Actually, I'm looking. Is the crank cracked right there? I swear it looks like the crank's cracked. Huh. Let me see if I can... Is it cracked or is that just a casting flaw? I don't know. You guys see what I'm talking about there, right? Oops. Unprofessional, sorry. Interesting. Here, you guys can kind of see what I'm talking about there. I don't know. I didn't want to have to pull the crank out the whole way. If I could avoid it. What do you guys think? Chance it? I would like to know if it's cracked or not, because if it's cracked, we'll stop with this motor while we're ahead. Of course, it could run cracked like that for years. Hold on a second. Oh no, there you go. Could run cracked like that for years and not be a problem, if it is cracked. If it's a casting flaw, no problem, right? So, I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go fish around on eBay. Has a standard piston in it. I don't know if I showed you guys. Focus? Yeah. So it has a standard piston in it. Kind of a mystery to me as to why that cracked, but I'm guessing when the rod broke, it hit that side. I'm wondering if what happened was the balance gears come apart and it jammed it and broke the rod, and they didn't realize the piston was cracked, or it didn't show up till after they ran it for a while. So that's my theory. I don't know though, because I just don't see any. If this was in there when that rod broke, you would think there would be a lot more traumatic damage to the piston. Not that that isn't traumatic enough, but it'd be like a spot where it hit, you know. So I don't know, because I sure don't see anything. All I see is them two cracks there. And you can tell with it doing that, it's been rubbing on the side there, which would cause some unusual wear. Because when that heated up, it would tend to push it apart and expand. Not only that, and then the power pushes down and probably pushes this in, tries to squeeze that together. I don't know. The other thing I'm trying to see is it fresh or not. I don't really see that it's fresh. I can kind of. I don't think it's fresh. As you guys know, if you do something fresh, it'd be shiny. There's definitely oil caked all through there. So, okay, done screwing with this. Gotta be like 8 minutes of me just looking at a cracked piston and eyeballing a bore. What I'm gonna do is I'll run a hone down through there. There's a little bit of a ridge on the bottom, but I can't catch my fingernail on it. You can feel it, but you can't catch your fingernail on it. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna run a hone through it. Maybe because I almost need a set of rings to check the ring gap. So I guess I'll just bite the bullet and buy standard piston rings, and I'll see if it's a under or oversized rod. I have the part number. I have a picture of it, and we'll go from there, guys. So later, guys. Alright guys, so I'm on K321 tear apart missions. Did block 1, which I have made a video about. That was not a crack in it, by the way, in the crank. And then we have block 2 over here. So, let's proceed to the bench. This one has a 30 thousandths over piston, and the piston is loose in the bore in block 2. Block 1 has a standard piston with a kind of worn bore. I think I could clean it up with a hone. That's not a problem. A little bit of ridge. So here's where we're going to refer back to the bench here. So, had I not have a service manual, I would have looked at these part numbers and I would have assumed these are the same. They're both 4705907. You guys can hopefully, oh, blocking the light. Hopefully you guys can read them. Let's see if this helps. Too much, too much, too much. There you go. You guys can see that? Okay. Now notice, get rid of the light a second here. Notice this hole here. No hole here. So, measuring these, this one was measuring I think this one was measuring, which that's weird, that's not right either. It was measuring a 1.486 roughly, and this was measuring a 1.4, say 9.7, 9.8 right in there. I could get a 9.9 if I was messing around with Harbor Freight calipers. But, so basically, standard connecting rods do not have a hole drilled in them. 10 undersized connecting rods have a hole drilled in them. So, that's good to know. Although it actually kind of measures opposite. Right? Because if it was 10 undersize, it would have a smaller hole. Correct? Correct. So this is a 10, what they consider a 10,000ths rod, which is an oversized rod, right? Because this is a standard. This is racking my brain. Because it should be 10 undersized, this should be a smaller hole. So I'm wondering if that ain't my rod knock. Interesting. I'll have to do some thinking on that, because when you grind a crank, you grind it down. You don't grind it bigger, obviously. So, that's really got me baffled now, but there's not a whole lot to read into this. Basically, just service replacement connecting rods are available. Standard crank pin size and 10 undersize. The 10 undersize rod can be identified by the drill hole located in the lower end of the rod shank. Refer to the figure. Always refer to appropriate parts information to ensure correct replacement parts are used. So, that's a 10 under rod, but that don't make no sense that it's measuring. Oh no, that would make sense, because it's measuring smaller, Steve. Bigger opening would be standard. Okay, I'm an idiot. Took me a minute, but I'm realizing it. So yes. 10 under. 10 under rod, standard rod. What I am thinking about doing here, some of you guys can call me crazy if you want to, but it all involves, you know, the money thing. Something I don't have. I really shouldn't be tearing these motors apart and looking at them, but I am, because I figured this motor here would be okay. This motor still has balance gears in it, by the way. I'll get down and show you guys that. But what I'm thinking about doing is, this motor here did not knock. Other than it smoking, it ran fine. This motor over here smoked and knocked. And so what my thinking is, I'm getting off subject here, is pull the crank out of this motor and put in that motor with the matching connecting rod I already have that doesn't knock. And then get a new piston and hone it and everything. And that's what I'm thinking about doing here. I think that's the only way I'm going to get a runnable block out of these two without spending a buku load of money. Because as of right now, well, I have a lot of Kohler gaskets floating around. I've bought a bunch of machines for Kohlers, and I have some oil pan gaskets floating around and stuff, so that's not a issue. And gaskets I can source. But I like this block better, first off. Except for where it has signs of connecting rod breaking at some point in its life. And third off, with this cylinder bore being so out of round, and already 30 over, I would have to buy perhaps a 40 over piston, which in the engine world, you start going 40 over, then you're starting to change some things. And the difference there might be stepping up to a k321 block. Let's go do the general information here. Keep going. Alright, cylinder bore. So a 14 horse new is 3.4995, and out of spec standard, I believe, yeah, is 35005. But a 16 horsepower, you step up to a 375. So you're going from a 3.5 inch piston to a 3 3/4 inch piston. So you're going up a quarter inch, basically, from stock. Correct, Amundo? Yeah. Yep. Because new would be 374, which is 0.005 under, or a point 0.005 under 3 3/4. Correct? Yeah. I'll go with it. It's late at night and my brain's tired. Been racking my brain looking at these things. Oh. Sorry guys, focus, thank you. Alright, so for my channel, this is going to be a first, because nothing else... Oh, you sucker, you. Batteries came out. Okay. This is probably going to be the first and last time you'll ever see balance gears on my channel. So, I think you guys can see this gear right here. This is what they consider a balance gear, and notice how loose it is. RW3 Dog has made a video about these grenading. My heater's gonna kick on. About these grenading and causing issues. You can see the two other balance gears up in there. There's one. There you go. You guys can see it right there. The two balance gears, which these are very well known to grenade. Actually, I think his block's cracked here. Check that out. Is it cracked, or is that just aligned? Nope, false alarm. Just a line of dirt that looked like a crack. And I can see that bore is really messed up. I don't know if you guys can see it, but it's pretty scored up at the bottom. So I'm gonna do some more looking around, but the more I'm thinking about it, the better this will be. Now, could you put this back together and get it to run? Oh yeah, definitely. Now, can you get it to run and not smoke? There's probably ways you can again. I just don't have the means to rebuild two motors right now. I don't really have the means to rebuild one motor. And I think the front crank seal is leaking on this. Because see, it was leaking oil in between the engine, or the PTO side, PTO shaft side. I
don't think it's coming out of the gasket. I knew it was leaving a puddle down here, but I didn't know where it was coming from exactly. I see it's wet up top here along the oil pan. So that's my assumption. And it looks like the rear crank seal is leaking too, because there is oil still leaking out of the blower housing there. So definitely a worse for wear block. Seals could be put in it, yes. So there you go. There's 11 minutes of me talking about Kohler motors and what I think I'm going to do. Oh no, I'm picking up my pieces for my flashlight. I have to get a zip tie and put on that. I broke the cover the other night, the tabs off of it. Harbor Freight. Oh. So there will be Steve's dilemma. It's going to be a little while till I acquired the parts to fix it. I don't know if the original block had a one-piece gear on it or not. I'm sitting here looking at it. The original block, the crank gears are nice and tight. The one I put on there, the high side gear was loose. The key was not sheared, but it was loose. And the planetary was making noise in high, so I'm assuming it's that gear chattering back and forth. But that's where I'm at with this project, guys. I know videos are going to be pretty interesting here for a little while till I get something moving or it starts snowing or something. There's just not going to be a whole lot of videos. So just thanks for watching, guys. Be patient. I'll be probably going back into throwing videos up every other day, something like that here. Well, later, fellas. Off.